What do you think? Is it time?
You scared me.
It's time. Let's get this thing started. Welcome. We are live in the Nutmeg Tavern, and I'm your host, John Townsend. And I say, come on in, have a seat. There's some seats over there by the fire. If you really need something, you might be able to get something from Ryan, who's behind the bar and doesn't have a hat on.
Hello.
It's all right. You can be hatless if you're in your own bar, right?
I was cooling down for a second.
Yeah, there you go. And behind the console, on the other side of the time vortex, taking care of all things technical, Aaron.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. That's all I got.
Yes. Have a happy Friday. And whoa, we put out that community post and everyone decided to answer. Thank you if you were in there with questions. There were so many good questions. We can only do what we can do. So we're going to run through questions. I might keep some of my answers short so we can do many, or we'll answer them as we go. I'm not sure if I know every single question that's going to come in, but
There might be a couple of surprises.
we'll do our very best.
Oh, real quick, people are saying, welcome back, Ryan, who
Hey.
was out last week.
Oh, it's good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right. He was sick.
Yeah. I was sick.
Or he didn't want to come in that day, so he
No.
called in
I
sick.
was-
No.
I was sick.
I heard him on the phone.
Yeah.
I can fake
sounds
that
Sorry
too.
guys, I can't come in today. I'm so
Yeah.
sick.
I can believe it. I've found that nutmeg is probably the best thing for a cold ever. So,
Little nutmeg in the hot toddy.
yep. So, let's see. We had the most disastrous cooking episode yesterday. Man, sometimes when things go bad, they just keep going bad. They just go bad, they go bad, they go bad. I mean, it was probably an hour and a half. We couldn't do anything because the whole kitchen was filled with smoke. You couldn't see me behind the table. It was so smoky. But we got it done.
I think the best part of it was things just kept going bad. Other technical things went bad. When we finally reset and got going, it rained probably harder than it has all year, and that roof is a steel roof.
Yeah.
So it's
And-
It was
noisy.
loud.
Could you hear the rain in the audio? Have you listened to it?
You can really hear the rain quite a bit, more than I thought you would. So
Well, we'll try to do the audio magic and make that go away.
If not, people will wonder what it is, and you
Yeah.
will know that it's rain.
Right.
yep.
We thought maybe frogs were going to start coming out of the sky.
It was a little scary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty fun though. And boy, was it good. Wow.
Yeah.
It was, with all that battling it turned out really, really good. So,
Oh yeah.
you never know. You never
Somebody said they want to see the disaster. I thought a little bit about how we could do that.
know. Yeah. There was that
There's
one.
some good on
that was
camera,
a-
like,
Whoa.
oh no.
Yeah. I don't know if
There's
you
good
got any of
stuff.
the shots in the smoke. We probably never even ran the
We
camera.
could probably fake that, but there are a couple, one in particular where we have it on camera, us realizing something that bad that had happened. And
Yeah.
about ruined the day.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah. But it was fun anyway. Well, if
It wasn't-
disasters are fun.
We'll say this. We got the footage we needed, and there will be a video.
Yes, it will happen. It will happen. So, let's see. We had, what was Monday's video? Oh, the pottery video. Yeah. So people reacting to the pottery video. Thank you for reactions to that, and I hope you enjoyed the pottery video. I have a lot of fun doing all kinds of different things, and doing a pottery video. That one we shot for Townsends Plus, and we kind of shoot those in a completely different way, sort of very, very sort of calmed down and relaxed, and so it was interesting to put it out on YouTube. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I guess I'm ready to be pummeled by these questions if you guys are ready for it.
Pummeled.
Pummeled.
All right.
Pummeled.
Well, I want to see if I can pick out a lob.
Ooh, I like
your very first one.
I like that. So not pummeled.
Let's start off with who you are and why you do what. Actually, let's wait until a few more people are on here for that one.
Okay.
Okay, can you cook with spruce beer or the other weird alcohols that we make on the channel?
Who was that asked that question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was, I don't know, Soylent Meme?
There we go.
Ryan gets to read the usernames for every question.
Yes. So, question: can you cook with the not normal beers? And actually, Monday's video, we'll be using small beer in that one, which we don't have small beer, so we just use beer. But slightly watered down, and it turned out, oh wow. So can you use the other beers? They're going to bring in their own super strange flavors, right? Sometimes you bring in spruce if you're using spruce beer, ginger. That can actually be a good thing. It might be something very, very interesting. And there's a lot of small beers that are being used in cooking. So I would say yes, you can if you're thinking about how the beer flavor is going to match the rest of the dish. So, if you think that sort of a piney, sprucey flavor is going to work with that, a spruce beer might work out. And sometimes you do want that hint of that sort of flavor coming in, especially say something that you would normally put something like rosemary in, which already has a piney flavor. Those would go together. So I'd say yes, definitely.
Okay. It is often said people in early America did not have many different items of clothing. How did these people keep their clothes in good condition? How were they prepared for the winter or the summer with these clothing? And how did they keep them clean?
Yeah, so
that was from Crispy Bacon.
Crispy Bacon, good job. So the problem in the 18th century is, and the reason why they talk about people not having as much clothing is because clothing is very, very expensive in the time period compared to what it is today. Today, we can go out to a store and we can buy clothing for next to nothing. You can't even buy the fabric for the amount that you can buy a finished, piece of clothing that's, perfectly made in a factory someplace. Well, hopefully it's perfectly made, but very sturdy, modern materials, all this good stuff, very, very inexpensive. And in a time period that wasn't true. So the amount of money you'd spend in the proportion of your earnings would be much greater, and you would have very, very not have very many pieces compared to your wardrobe today. We just swim in clothing today. So you have to take care of your clothing a lot more. One of the ways you take care of your clothing is not cleaning them. Today we're throwing things in the wash all the time. When you're washing clothing, it's wearing it out. So you don't want to do that. You want to wash things as little as possible so that they wear longer. So the shirt of the 18th century, like the one I'm wearing here, is the underclothing of the 18th century, both top and bottom. So it's a real long shirt. And that's what gets washed over and over again. And waistcoats and trousers and coats, definitely coats and other things, they just don't get washed if you can get away with it. And if you have to wash them, you might get grease stains on them or different kinds of dirt on them. You would use other methods rather than throwing them in water and washing them to get them clean again. So you would use different kinds of, chalk balls and certain kinds of powders that you would put on the item and then brush them off, work that through, and try to get them clean without getting them wet. And you want to be careful with your items, how you wear them. If you are working, you would definitely have work clothes, and you would have other items that you would wear that definitely were not work clothes, and you'd be very careful to keep those sort of separate. And they do have things that they can cover over the top of their clothing to help keep them from getting dirty. So you might be wearing a shirt and a waistcoat, and then you don't want to get dirty. You're working out at the farm. You might have a smock that goes over the top of that. And they would have early on trousers, which would go over the top of your knee breeches, sort of like overalls, to cover up clothing so that you don't get dirty. So there's a lot of different things you can do to make your clothing not wear out. Those are the biggies.
I know my smock is dirty. It gets It gets it protects my other clothing very well, and people comment on that a lot. Okay, so WPWP. What would be your ideal homestead / environment to live in town or out of town? And if so, what? Oh yeah, okay. What would you prefer to do day to day in the time period?
So he's saying like, okay, we're in the 18th century context. John, you've been time warped into the 18th century. What's your choice? And I don't know if I would want to be a deep frontier kind of person, but I certainly am not a city person. So that edge of town, you're a mile or two out, and you still have access to all those good things, and you still have access to the wilderness. I want the best of both worlds. That's me. That's what I'm all about. Do I have to choose a profession? Thank goodness, no. I don't think he mentioned that, right?
He did. He asked what you would like to do day to day. So, given where you would like to live, what do you think would be a good profession? And you can have as many side gigs as you possibly could handle.
I don't think I'm ready for that one.
Okay, all right.
That's a little tough.
This one just came into the chat, and it asks, "What is the earliest memory you have of dressing in period clothing?" A surprise question.
Well, my parents started the business in 1973, so right there, pretty soon after. Maybe after the first season, there was ideas about, hey, we should be doing this part of it, the clothing part of it. It started off as just lighting devices, and but still, even when people were, most of that was happening like down at Friendship and some other places. There was still the wearing of shirts that were pseudo colonial style, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Right there, 1973, 1974, simple clothing of that time frame.
These trousers that you speak of that would go over, did they have extra room built in above the knee to go over them?
Yeah, they're going to be a little baggier and
kind of like how coveralls are built now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Hizen What was the spice ingredient considered to be the rarest and most exotic in the 18th century?
So there are some strange and exotic ones that are still being listed in the cookbooks, but probably not used very often. Things like ambergris, I think, would probably be the most exotic and expensive. And I'm not sure exactly what ambergris is really going to be like as a flavoring. There's musk that's real similar to that, and probably definitely not on our palate list today. I mean, put that in food and go, whoa, what is that going on? So that would probably be where I would go, and I have no idea, just no idea what the addition is. That's a carryover. Again, those things, it's like those recipes are getting carried into the 18th century from the 16th and the 17th century, when those sorts of things were being used in very, very high-end cooking, and they're still being mentioned in the 18th century cookbooks, but I don't know how often it ever got used.
So this builds on what you were talking about clothing. What got you into history as a kid, and what got you into cooking?
Yeah, so what gets me into history as a kid is my father starts Frontier Lanterns, turns into James Townsend and Son. He starts that business in 1973, and it's a family thing. We're doing that as a family, making lanterns, selling lanterns, other simple wooden items, and going to different sorts of shows and opportunities to sell those things. So I'm doing those history-oriented things, and seeing what other people were doing in that sort of space as a child. Growing up, the reenacting part starts to become more and more interesting to me, and so I'm playing in that part of it. So yeah, that's where the business and the whole sort of historical thing comes from. And then the cooking episodes. Cooking was always interesting, as one of those things that sometimes people aren't really doing at reenactments when they should, although it's a lot more, I think, popular today than it was early. And as early as, I think it was 1995, I actually worked with Dave Taylor doing a VHS of cooking episodes, right? So I was behind the camera working with Dave, and he was doing cooking items. You've seen Dave on the live stream several different times with the coffee episodes and whatnot. So then later on, after we did, I don't know, 2 or 3 years of YouTube videos that just, they never caught on. And then we said, hey, let's try some cooking episodes. I had already done lots of research on that, and boom, that's what got me into cooking and only period cooking. Really, modern cooking, that's not me. Period cooking, okay, I'm interested in that.
Okay, we're going to catch up on some super chat real quick. Heather Torrey sends in a super chat without a comment. George Snakeson as well. Gear Jackie says, would you guys ever open the Nutmeg Tavern proper for folks to visit? You could serve a menu of all the excellent recipes you've done over the years. I'd make it a yearly trip at the very least.
Well, the secret is the Nutmeg Tavern is virtual only. It only goes 3 feet that way and 5 feet that way. So don't. It's just looks good on camera. That's why the camera never moves, guys. It's a secret. It's only here on the internet. So you get to come into the Nutmeg Tavern every week.
Jennifer A. sent in several super chats. This one says, because I asked 3 questions and I have no idea how to change the amount. And then here's another one. Jennifer A. Is there a website we can go to for reenactors and reenactment events? That's question number 1. Does Michael Dragoo have a website is number 2. And where is Josh these days is number 3.
Okay. Number 1 is their website for looking up events, and really probably Facebook is the best thing that I know of.
These days, yep.
Yep, that's it. So
look for groups on Facebook, and then
search within the groups. Yeah, that would be the way to look at. I don't have any links for you specifically, but that's probably the best thing. Michael Dragoo, no, not that I know of.
No website.
He is working on a bigger project, he himself, and when that gets closer to fruition, we'll be talking to Michael about that. But I can't say anything more than that, or else he'd probably get mad. And Josh, he's here all the time. He works downstairs to point through the floor because we're in the upper story here. Josh works here at the store all the time, working on different projects, products, and look, he undoubtedly worked on this coin right here. So, yep, Josh is here.
Eric sends in a super chat. I love the time period. Thanks for bringing it to life.
Thank you.
All right, well, we've got a question from the chat that asked what they used for toothpaste.
What did they use for toothpaste? You'll see different things about using charcoal, using some other items. A lot of the period kind of toothpastey, they didn't have paste, but powders that they might use, pretty abrasive and could really damage their teeth. So I'm not sure exactly what else they're using other than that. They did have some brushes. I don't know that toothbrushing was a real big thing. One of the things they did was they had tongue scrapers, which I think is probably more popular in the time period than
well, they're popular now. A lot of toothbrushes have them kind of built in on the other side, right?
Which, if I do that but to my tongue, bad things happen. So I don't do that. I just don't do that.
But yeah, tongue scrapers. Yeah. You can find them on eBay.
I'm sure. I'm sure you can find them. They also had ear spoons that they did the wax out of their ears with. So.
Dakota Bailey, just how much 18th century knowledge can we apply to current daily needs from your channel?
Well, hey, they lived with this information, so we could too. We could live our entire lives like that if we really wanted to. No, I think day-to-day life, there's a lot of things we can sort of take from the 18th century. You know, there's some of the simplicity. We make our lives very, very complicated. We live, and we don't necessarily need to, right? But we're used to the complicated. We're used to the nice parts of it. When, you know, if we had to survive that way, if we were forced to survive in an 18th century way, you know, we would do it. And if we, you know, grew up that way, we wouldn't even complain. So there are some good, you know, sort of philosophical things we can take from that. I think people had sort of very realistic expectations about what was going on with their lives and where they were going with that. We have so much media, and we see sort of you know, the highs and the lows, and we get to sort of walk in the footsteps of people that are, you know, 10 steps above us, and we, you know, maybe think, you know, why isn't my life like that? I don't think most people in the 18th century lived like that and were concerned with that. They were concerned with their day, you know, their realistic daily life and what they should be doing, not, you know, complaining and daydreaming about what could be, right? So there's a lot of those kinds of things, and also just plain not being bombarded with as much media as we are today. So they were able to do much more because they weren't consuming. We sort of have to we feel like we have to consume all this media. Oh, there's all this news coming in. There's, you know, this and that, and we're spending all this time on information that we, in a lot of ways, can't use whatsoever. And in the 18th century, that wasn't true. And so people with very, very modest means, tiny little libraries, would be able to really invest themselves and come up with some very, very, you know, useful traits. It's like, well, if I only have a Latin book, I can get really good at Latin because I don't have anything else to do, right? So there are a lot of those kinds of things from the time period that we can grasp onto and say, you know, is what we do in our daily life the right thing? Boy, it would. I don't know if we really want to examine what we do that much, because we would say maybe we're wasting an awful lot of our energy and time.
All right. Smiley One asks, what is your favorite thing to wear that's historic?
So I have one right here. The short jacket that I wear in all the cooking episodes and many other episodes, you know, I'm a person who's cold all the time. You know, like these guys are all like, they're mad right now because the air conditioning hasn't been on and it's nice and warm in here. I was like, yes, it's nice. And those jackets are nice and warm. I have a nice linen one and wool ones that I wear for basically every episode that I can get away with it, and those are my favorite.
Yeah, until we make him wear something different for the episode.
It's like, John, stop wearing that.
And I've seen you wear those in like 100-degree days. It's crazy.
I'm used to it.
All right. Eli is on here. Was there such a thing as health insurance during the 18th century? I just rewatched the surgery episodes, and that made me think of it.
Yeah, surgery episode will make you think of that sort of thing. So I don't know about anything like that going on in North America. It definitely could be. There are certain kinds of clubs and guilds, sort of union-y things-ish, that are happening in Great Britain that do have those sort of components that go along with them. And a very interesting, that would be a very interesting study to see, find examples of that, and just to see how far along they were coming with those sorts of ideas. I only have some vague and nebulous information about that right now, so it would be a great study, and I'm sure there's some really interesting papers out there. I will see what I can do to sort of come up with a little more information on that if it's possible.
William Poole is in Super Chat. What is the earliest American coinage you have?
The earliest American coinage.
That's
I
tricky.
have-
American coinage.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you mean sort of the Americas, right? Not. Do you mean?
Let's just go
United
with
States?
the Americas.
Let's go with the Americas. Here's a 1708 Cobb piece of 8. I think this one is Bolivian. I think so. And this is probably one of the earliest ones. Before this, these were the kinds of coins that, not really coins. Cobb money was sort of chunks of metal that they would turn out right there, close to the mine where the smelter is, and they would sort of quickly, put a mark on both sides. They aren't great for coinage because they're very easy to clip. That's probably one of the very earliest pieces. That's directly the kind of piece of money that would be in North America. And as for a standard piece of 8, the 1755 Spanish mill dollar is also one of those pretty early pieces. And that's, if there are coins floating around, these are the kinds of coins that are really going to be going through the economy here in North America.
All right. Also, back in Super Chat, Jordan Glass. When coffee was not available and folks substituted with ground burnt grains or otherwise, what was the point if there was no caffeine? You're asking us.
It's a placebo effect, I think. It's like, oh, this is bitter, dark brew. Oh, it must make me feel, And they didn't know. They didn't know that caffeine necessarily was this thing that was in coffee. Maybe they thought they got the energy or the brain clearness from the bitterness or the color or whatever. So remember, we are looking backwards, knowing what the issue was. They had no idea.
Okay. Akeem7 in the Super Chat. Always wanted to ask, what's with vegetable cooking oils in the colonies? Why you never use them? Is it just due to unavailability then, or taste?
Yeah, where do vegetable oils come from? Right? So vegetable oils are coming from pressing certain kinds of seeds and grains. They did not have the means to do that. So all their oils or all their cooking oils are going to be animal fat based, or sometimes you see something like olive oil, which they might call sweet oil. So that's, pressed from olives, but obviously that's not actually being manufactured in North America. We don't have any olives. So most of the oils that are available are coming from that. There's also linseed oil. This is like flaxseed oil, right? Lin is linseed, which is just a kind of flaxseed oil. I don't know that they're using it for cooking. It's sort of an industrial product in the time period. So those are the biggies. So everything else really is, animal fats, really. That's why you see those being used in cooking and not vegetable oils. They just didn't have them.
This is in the chat, and I'm curious about this. Star Trek or Star Wars?
I don't know. I enjoy lots and lots of science fiction. It's like, I don't know. I liked the specificity that they get in Star Trek, right? It's like, oh, let's talk about the technology and da-da-da-da. But I like the story that you get in Star Wars. So, because I'm a techie kind of person, I like this one thing over here, and because I'm more, I like this. So there you go. I'm not going to be like totally one side or the other. What can I say?
All right. Multi-Bear asks, this was from the question that we asked on YouTube. How do they keep lice and other parasites out of their hair and clothes?
Yes.
Which remedies did they use?
Yeah, so while there are some cookbooks and medical books in the time period that probably have some anti-lice sort of recipes in there, none of them come to mind really quickly, and I did a little bit of searching because he gave me a heads up on that one. I didn't see anything. I didn't look really, really deep, though. I didn't have time for that. But most of that is really what's going on with their clothing and their hair and physical issues. Okay, so like women, they would always wear hats, and that was to help keep that sort of problem from happening, protecting their hair, keeping it up in certain different kinds of ways. When it comes to, the other way is to physically deal with it with very, very fine-toothed combs, which, we still have available today for that very purpose. And that's probably the very main way people are taking care of that issue in the time period. Before I'm going to stop you right there. Before we go any further, I'm going to get Patreon and whatnot, folks. There are some folks that support us via Patreon, which is one of those ways that you can sort of subscribe to support us in a small amount. Basically, you get to choose. And the brand new Patreon people this week, Nicholas Herring, Tracy Hogland, Christopher, let me try to get this one right, Grand Leonard, Admin, Taryn Reimer, and Chuck Knighton. Then we also have folks, we got some tried and true guys over there on PayPal that support us there. And again, that's it's great for a one-time kind of a thing, or you can just, do it whenever you have the ability. There's Jeremy Skidmore, Jeffrey Holmes, and Christopher Ford. Thank you, all you guys. And then we have brand new people on Townsends Plus. I was blown away by the great number of people, new folks over on Townsends Plus. Nicholas P, Roberta D, Spencer B, Ben J, Peter V, Corey B, Elizabeth T, Tristan L, Alex M, Dustin W, Merriweather, and Keith H. Lots and lots of new folks over there on Townsends Plus. Thank you guys so much for supporting us in that way. YouTube is great, especially great for reaching out, but we just never know what's going to happen on YouTube for support. You just never know. So it's like, so really, folks supporting us this way helps give us this totally known base that we can say, okay, we can do work on this project, that project. We can take time to do a money episode. You guys make it happen. Thank you.
Yeah, on that note, real quick, I would like to thank you all so much, the folks that are on Townsends Plus. We posted the first video from somebody that's not here at Townsends.
That's right.
Other than Jim's Red Pants, but we kind of consider them
in-house almost.
In-house.
Captive people.
Michael McElroy posted the first Bygone Brewer episode, and you guys really watched it. Thank you for that. Make sure to comment on that video, give him some encouragement. We're looking forward to more content from him.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, Barbara, this was interesting because we've had this time travel question a lot, but not the specific one. If you could time travel back, which specific event would you want to be at or a part of?
This one's going to be tough.
Well, there's so much. It's like, okay, do you want to see the signing of the Declaration of Independence, or do you want to be there early to see kind of everything built? It's interesting.
Well, because I've been sort of doing a little bit more research about Ben Franklin, I actually think I want to be there for that kite thing. Right? Yeah. I think it'd be hilarious to see him get shocked by, not killed by a lightning bolt, but shocked. I think that'd be hilarious. And what a character to, question. The character of all characters, really, just like eccentric, right? So that'd be really fun. But events, I don't know, like political events are so, it'd be great to see it from our known idea and then to see what was really happening, right? Because if today you're walking down the street and you're in, it's like, well, I was there for this thing that happened and it was on the news. When it's happening to you, it doesn't feel like an event, right? And I wonder if those things that happen that we feel as this great turning moment in history didn't feel like that at all. So, Boston Tea Party would probably be one of those very, very interesting ones, but maybe scary. I don't know. A lot of them would be scary things going, because you never know they didn't know what was going on.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. Good job, John. This is from Ran. And okay, and let's keep, I think that the easiest thing to do is think about this as far as creating videos, but what's something you dislike about your work?
Dislike about my work.
I know it can't be the people, because you work with the best people ever.
People are great.
Isn't that right, Aaron?
Yep.
Wonderful folks to work with.
Well, I fix a lot of broken equipment, but I like fixing broken things.
Do you like when we have to leave the kitchen because it's so smoky?
Well, there are issues. Sometimes when you're trying to do a cooking episode and the entire building's filled with smoke, that's very, very difficult to do your job, and everyone else finds it difficult too. That would be one of the more difficult things. I guess smoke-filled rooms, and not the good. Well, there aren't any good smoke-filled rooms. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that would be
when video shoots get interrupted for dumb things. That's like that. That's
sometimes you do this. You're you feel like you're all ready for a video shoot, and then you realize that you don't have this thing, so you go get it. And then there's another thing, and that happens 6 times.
Well, that's like every video shoot. Boy, if we only had a AA battery. Boom!
yeah.
Well, let me go and get one.
Finley Hills, I really enjoyed the pottery episode. Did potters tend to buy the clay they used, or did they make it themselves from loamy soil? Would you ever do an episode on clay production?
So it's actually one of the things I sort of have planned. We're hoping to do taking that pottery studio out to the homestead site and start working on that. But wow,
I can't wait for that.
it's hot right now where it's raining continuously. So, potters more than likely, the vast majority of the ones, especially sort of in North America, would have been harvesting their own clay. And loam is a mix, right? So you don't want loam, you want clay, just clay. And so you would look for some kind of clay deposit in your area. You might even try to purchase the land right there, the land itself of the clay deposit, and set up your shop right there, because it's heavy, it's inexpensive. So transportation costs are more than what the clay is worth in the time period. So you want to be very, very close to your clay source, and you would process that clay. You'd dig it up, you'd make it in big piles, you'd let it freeze in the winter time and then thaw, and it breaks it down and turns it into this very, very malleable thing. You'd have a horse, and you'd have a mill. You would mix it, and you would try to get out the impurities if you had to. You might have to wash the clay. So clay processing is a massive part of the whole process of pottery. So it's a big part of it, and having the right kind of clay to do whatever kind of project you want to do. So I think I answered that question.
Speed and Style Tony was just wondering if I missed a super chat. No, I did not. We have a lot of questions to get through, John. Just letting you know.
Okay, I'll go faster.
Speed and Style Tony, my mother really enjoyed your pottery video. What other items and techniques are easy for beginner potters?
The hand building, I think, would you need to kind of start off with that, doing simple items in that way, and you don't even need a wheel. But wheels are that's the fun part, right? Getting in there, and once you can do simple cylinders and get the ball centered and make those things, you can make just about anything.
All right, so Rose is in Super Chat. She says, tips for all 3 of you nice gents. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you.
Dream Video, a tour of John's personal library of history books. So we're going to shoot a 50-hour video.
Yeah.
We should talk more about books.
There's a joke in my household that there's not a day that goes by that a book doesn't come in the mail. I'm telling you, guys, my house is nothing but a giant stack of books, and we kind of try to hold the walls around the giant stack of books. Books here, books downstairs, books in my office,
Part of
books
the
in that
structure
office.
of the home at
Yeah,
this point.
actually, we just built on books. That's all we do here.
They're starting to hollow out walls just to put
yeah.
the books.
Yeah, books. It's sort of like it's a bad habit. You got to break it. No, you don't, because you can never have too many books, as far as I'm concerned. That's where it all comes from, and we, sort of solidify our ideas, and we connect. Once you read one book, you read 100 books, and all the different ideas, sort of meld together. And wow, books. I can't recommend them enough.
Max are cool is in Super Chat. Happy Friday to all the wonderful folks at Townsends and all the wonderful folks joining in the tavern. That was very kind.
Yes.
Chad Dawson put in the Super Chat without a comment. Celestial tease, that one tongue ties me every time. How many sets of clothes would the average person have? Do you think your historic wardrobe reflects the amount the average Joe would own?
My historic wardrobe?
It's fun. It's a funny question because
It's
there's like a
heaped up
whole.
over here, and there's some here, and there's some, because I have to, pictures for the catalog, and different kinds of time.
And every
frames.
prototype is made in John's size.
Right, everything is made in my size, so I end up with like 1,000 pieces of clothing. So I'm not the person you would gauge that on. If we really want to know those answers, we do have some of those answers. We have like wills and estate records and inventories of the time period. I don't know if I have that great inventory book here, but yeah, we could even do we should probably do an episode on that and just look at those inventories and break it down. How many pairs of pants did people have? How many shirts did they have? What were they kind of valued at? One of the interesting things I talked about, trousers, right? So the long pants, not breeches. Usually when you look at those records for people in inventory, one pair of trousers. They might have 4 or 5 pair of breeches, but they really only need one of those outer coverings. They're not made to wear any other way. They're just that over the top of everything. You only need one pair.
The Dude Reviews. Sorry, I lost my... The Dude Reviews. I've always dreamed of being able to time travel as an observer, but I couldn't find any other time to live than right now. Would you choose to live in the 18th century if you could, if not, any other era?
I don't know. It's hard to put yourself out of context and say, well, would I enjoy living in this time or that time? I don't know. I think it's a really difficult question to answer because, I would like to, yes, vicariously or for a short period of time go visit the 18th century, but I don't know if would be all that much fun.
Aria's in Super Chat. Recently got my Jazz Townsend Sun logo root beer float mug.
Oh yeah.
And love it. All your content is great. And I was surprised to find myself as interested in it as I am the food and history behind it all. Thank you so much.
History can be great fun as long as it's not a class, right? So where you have to, answer a test or something, and you have to read really boring stuff that you don't want. But if you get to pick and choose history that you think is interesting, that is great.
Hannah Cruz Clifton sent in a Super Chat without a message.
Thank you.
Steve, if you had a colonial American brigade, what would you call it? Also the same for the British.
If I had one, like Butler's Rangers, right? And you're going to be one of our own. We would be the somethings.
It has to have nutmeg in it.
See, that one I wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
We'll have to come
The
up
nutmeg
with
graters.
Ooh.
We'll think on it.
Yeah, we'll think on that.
Yeah. Okay, Steve again, I think. Yeah. Hey, Steve. The Right Honorable John Townsend nearly alluded to a preference of smoke rooms. I don't think so. Mr. Watson. Hey, do you have a favorite bit of American folklore, legend, or perhaps just something that sticks with you?
You guys have any ideas about where to go with that?
Like,
We always have trouble with this
well,
one.
it's because a lot of our legends are handed down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a great question that we never have an answer to.
You always go right to like Sleepy Hollow is the folklore, but which is great.
Yeah, there's probably it's not something I delve into a lot. So I mean, usually I'm spending a lot of time in material culture and just culture part that has to do with sort of daily life and the doing of things, and that's sort of a little different. And I might have an interesting place to go to look for some of that. I'll think about that one.
So one of the best ways that folks out there can help this video on YouTube is to give us likes. Like this video right now. Let's get up to 1,000. That would be awesome.
How close are we?
We're in the 500s right now. We got some work to do.
What are
We
you
can do
guys
it.
doing out there? Come on!
I know we can get there.
It doesn't cost you anything. You just go down there and you hit the thing. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. You can do it. You can do it. I mean, we did that 1,000 thing the other like a month or two ago, and then I had to read the farting thing. So I'm not going to do that again.
All right. Chad Dawson is in Super Chat. Again, thank you. John, you have a band in your midst, a drummer and a bassist, correct? I play guitar and piano. Please put something together. That'd be awesome.
With whom? These guys? I'm supposed to make music with these guys?
John in the band van.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done any band things. So, there you go.
Tube BW is in Super Chat. It seems that the colony has used a great many candles. Where did they get such a huge amount of beeswax? They needed was synthetic or paraffin wax.
Yeah, they didn't have anything like paraffin wax, but most of their candles were likely not beeswax, but made from tallow. So, or it may be more like the suet, which is very waxy. Makes a low quality candle, but inexpensive. Not just candles, but they would use all sorts of animal fat lamps. So just a lamp with a little wick in it that's simple. Hey, you've got bacon grease or whatever you're going to use for that. So that's one of those items that you'll use. And they also had, but they were very expensive, spermaceti candles. Probably much later on in the late part of the century, again made from sperm whale spermaceti from the heads of sperm whales, which is, but it makes
a $high candle.
Well, the standard even today is candle power, right? So we have this sort of light, based on candle power. Well, the candle that candle power is based on is a spermaceti candle. It's the standard.
Hannah is in Super Chat. What's everyone's favorite part of being connected with this amazing community of all of us fans?
What was the question again?
What's our favorite part of being connected with our fans? Our amazing fans.
Well, the number of questions and the interest that drives this, right? So if there wasn't all this interest in what we do, hey, it's like, you're just talking into sort of an open void. It's very hard to create anything like that. But the amazing energy and interest that comes in from you guys is what makes it happen, truly.
I have a whole page full of questions from the YouTube post, and I'm barely going to make it through Super Chats.
Well, then I'll go really fast.
No, I'm just saying we're going to have to do another Q&A live stream soon.
Oh, no.
Thank you guys so much for the response to this. It's a lot of fun. One of my favorite things is just the encouragement that you guys give us in the comments and in the emails that you send, and knowing that we're connecting on something other than history as well. Yeah. I mean, I love connecting on history, but that's really cool. So thank you.
The real life now stuff.
You got anything, Aaron?
Oh yeah, same. Just people's compliments, and it feels really good when people click with what you're doing. Yeah. It feels really good, and really appreciate it.
Steve says the nutmeg nutcrackers should be. You want to write that one down?
Yeah.
We'll decide. Jordan Glass, if you cooking episodes, is the kitchen part of a historic building or part of the studio? If real, can you make a video tour of the whole house?
Yeah, we have gotten this question before, and it is a set. How long ago did we build that? It's been
about 10 years ago.
10 years ago. We built the German kitchen set. It was a chicken house before that at my house, and it was like, kind of a disused building. And I said, boy, we got done with the first season of cooking shows outside, and it was going to be winter time. It's like, I really want to do more cooking episodes. We need a historic house. Well, actually, we just need a historic kitchen. Well, we'll just make one. Let's go. And so I did, a couple weeks worth of research, and Aaron and I built it. And that's what we still use today for lots and lots of episodes. So it's just a set, as it were, sort of.
I'd say it was a good investment, both money and time.
I think so.
Steve Martin Houston, I think, is in Super Chat. Says, take a shot of whatever you're drinking, and I and all of the chat will join you. Love the channel.
It's empty now. I drank it all.
Cheers.
There's still a little left.
Oh, sorry.
I had
cheers.
mead in
All I had
mine.
left was the grounds from my coffee.
Yeah.
Thank you. Key B. Did historians in the 1700s spend their time teaching at universities, or was it its own separate job?
There wasn't as much of that historian thing going on. There were certainly people writing about, history further back in that time period. And there was a new resurgence almost just starting about looking back at antiquities and such like in the 18th century. Not so much in North America. That's an English thing going on. They have a little bit more time to spend on, scholarly works like that. But it is certainly starting to happen. And people sort of studying. There's a great time period. There's a great cookbook from the time period where they're looking at 13th and 14th century English cookbooks, and that's printed in the 18th century. So there's certainly some of that going on.
Okay, Evan is in Super Chat, and it says, you guys are the best. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. John Talley sends in the Super Chat without a comment.
Thank you.
FSU Arts, have you ever done an episode on parties and balls in the 18th century America? I'd love to see the dances, hear the music, and see what kinds of food that were common period.
Wow.
That's a cool
We
idea.
have we did one attempt at this at a reenactment in Mississinawa.
Okay.
But it was so dark, the footage, it was just like, it was all candle and it was at night, and that was difficult.
And we didn't have the cameras we have
Yeah,
now.
Right.
we could do it now.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So please buy a shot for the barkeep as well. Thank you.
Don't encourage
Thank
him,
you so
guys.
much.
No.
Becca P is in Super Chat. So excited to see more fabric of history on Townsends Plus and info about women in the 18th century. I think that's something big missing on this channel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're excited about that show, but those episodes take a lot of research. So
Yeah.
we're working on another one right now.
That one that's there was like really complicated.
Yeah.
All the history
Yeah.
and the work that went into
Yeah, and we kind of picked that one as the easiest one to start with. So I can tell you the gal that did that is my wife, and I see her working on it at home, but we're not quite there yet. So, Rescue Ranger, have you ever researched your own personal genealogy back to the 18th century?
I haven't, but other people have. Thank you, Lily. So yeah, there's some folks out there that have found some really interesting things back there, like indentured servant. No, a transported convict for stealing chickens and ducks, and some other.
That's right, I
You're
forgot
related
about
to?
that.
That you're related to?
Yeah.
He's related to a real
Doesn't
quack.
surprise me.
Oh, you.
Yeah,
Say it one more time. I think I talked over you. Related to a what?
a real quack. Okay, so there are two more people that said to buy a drink for the barkeep.
No.
I'd like that to go down.
No.
Could you please write that down?
No. Yeah, we won't be able to get any work out of him.
We have more questions to get to, and we will. We will do. If you guys like this Q&A thing, we will do this more.
Yeah.
But I've got one more super chat coming in, and then we got to sign off.
Yes.
So this is from Expedition Truth Radio. Good to see you again, sir.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so much, guys. I'm done, John.
Wow. There's like a million more questions there. You would just flooded you about broke the internet. So thank you guys so much for your wonderful, wonderful questions. We could only pick just so many. So thank you though. And we'll do another episode and we'll have a lot more fun. And boy, I can't wait to see Monday's episode. Aaron's gonna have to work hard at getting it ready.
You were supposed to shoot on Monday too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
You don't have to be there for that one.
Oh.
No, you don't.
That's
But
not
I
on-
do.
That's not on your schedule.
This is really cool. Sometimes I don't have to be there to shoot a video. I can actually do other work.
Well, we just had another super chat come in from John Talley. Used your kitchen pepper on beef as
Yeah.
a rub. It was amazing. I'll definitely be getting more. Everyone loved it.
Wow.
Go watch the kitchen pepper video, guys.
Yeah,
That's a
watch
good
that
one.
kitchen pepper episode. And there's some kitchen pepper over there. You can go on our website and check it out too. Thank you, Ryan, for digging through all those. He did all the hard work. So thank you, Ryan, for all that. And he had to read all those names. Thank you, Aaron, for all that. Yep. All you guys, you make it happen. You're the reason why we're here. I'm not here for any other reason. But you guys and all your wonderful enthusiasm, energy, and great, wonderful questions. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you, Patreon folks, Townsends Plus folks, and all you folks purchasing merch on in our store, PayPal folks. Again, wow. I feel very privileged to be able to do what I do and bring you this information. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.